This is What His Eyes Couldn't See by myself and Stanley Katz.
It's Joanne, excuse me, Joanne, who am I?
It's on, look at the cover,
It'll give you.
and it says,
These two, okay.
The set is, there's a historic marker facing downstage, downstage right, and next to it is a little bench, and on the other side is a podium with a microphone. And then upstage, there is either on a turntable or in 3 separate locations, a few chairs to look like an apartment. And at center stage, there would be a bus. See several rows of seats in a bus. And then on stage left would be a town courthouse. So upstage, you'll see a judge's seat and a table, and then there'd be chairs downstage. All right. Scene 1. The stage is dark. Isaac enters from stage left. He crosses to the bench, left of the marker. He's wearing an army uniform with medals and insignias on him. He also has several other jackets and a cane. And he puts them down on the jacket, on the bench, and then addresses the audience. The light comes on, a spotlight comes on him as he's walking across the stage.
It'll be light soon, and the town will be coming for the dedication service. Nice to be remembered, though it's taken a long time. Yeah. Army brass, they'll be here. No 21-gun salute, taps or folded flags for a relative. My nephew would be my choice, because this ain't a funeral. That's all right, I heard enough gunfire and bombing in World War II, and woke up nights for years after the war, sweating, heart racing, hearing that awful pounding and whistling. The mayor and others will start at the bus stop where I got off from Atlanta, just 3 hours discharge, and point them and walk here to the market, just 2 blocks. The town's about the same as it was 46, except for the jail. It's torn down and made into this park where the marker is.
Isaac bends down and smells the flowers around the marker.
Gardenia flowers, my favorite.
He stands up.
I've waited 73 years for this.
Blackout. Isaac takes off his jacket. He puts it on the bench. He picks up a jacket with the medals and insignias ripped off. He picks up the cane and he crosses to the scene of the apartment. Lights come up and Sarah, his mother, is sitting in the upstairs chair reading a letter. Isaac reaches the door using the cane to find the way, and he stands at the door facing upstage.
My son, what's happened to you?
No, I think we're on page 5.
It's
It's
down on the other side.
Oh, okay. All right. Son's coming home today. Says here, Isaac's been in a VA hospital in South Carolina. Must have been hurt real bad. I'm gonna prepare myself for what he'll be like. I can't look shocked. I must stay calm. Isaac's been in the Army for 4 years. Seeing action every day far from home, except for the last 6 months recovering. What a terrible thing. Oh, thank God Isaac's alive. He's here.
She puts the letter down, crosses to the door, and she's shocked at what she sees.
Isaac?
I'm home, Mama.
My son. My son.
Sarah embraces Isaac. Then she steps away, holding his arms.
What's happened to you?
What's happened to me?
Page 6.
Yeah, I got it. I just lost the line. Too horrible for words. I ain't saying nothing.
Sarah guides him into the house, into a chair.
Yes, you are. You're going to tell me everything, son.
They reach the chair.
Sit down.
He smells the chair and sits.
Feels and smells like the last time I was here before I went overseas.
Nothing's changed.
It has. Everything's changed.
Where's that wife of yours?
Rosa left me. Said there was no future in it for a colored man, only a tiny pension and no job. Who'd hire me the way I am? I've come north to your house, Mama. Is it okay?
Seven.
The Bronx your home. The Bronx is your home now, son. We'll take care of you. Did you see your nephew on the street? He was so excited you were coming today. He'll be right in soon, and you'll see him. You know what I mean.
She moves to the other side of Isaac's chair and sits down.
Where are your sergeant's stripes, your medals? I was so proud of the picture you sent me before you left the Philippines. What'd you do? Say, why'd they take your medals away?
Blackout. Isaac crosses with the cane, not walking with it, to the bench, and then he crosses to the marker. Go ahead.
Oh, I thought you would take lights up. I never returned to South Carolina. The Bronx was good enough for me. Stayed with my mother until she passed. And my nephew was old enough to take over. He was good to me. We'll say a few words today at the dedication. Married again. The better pension that came years later helped me find another woman, or another woman find me. I tried to get on with my life, what was left of it, and not think about the past. What good does it do? My nephew told me what was going on. He tried. Wanted to make sense of it all, but a lot of what he said didn't get into my head. Blame me? With the war and everything? It wasn't supposed to turn out like that.
Blackout. And now Isaac takes off the jacket, puts on a jacket without the medals and stripes. He crosses back to the Bronx home. Sarah is sitting there. Isaac knocks on the door.
Come in.
Isaac enters.
Mother!
She steps back and holds both his hands.
So glad you could come up north before you shipped out.
Guess what? I checked out the Brooklyn Navy Yard this morning after I got off the train. Lots going on there. Could be a good job for me in the yard after the war, if I could convince Rosa to move north.
She'll go anywhere that's best for you.
Sarah looks at him and admires how he looks.
My. Look at you. Where's Rosa? She didn't come on the trip? You know we have plenty of room for both of you.
Oh, what can I say?
She shouldn't let you travel alone, handsome man like you.
She brushes his jacket.
Wait till you have some medals or stripes after you serve. I know you'll learn plenty. Rosa won't let you go anywhere without her. No, sir.
Oh, where's Robert?
Taking a nap. He's grown up, but still needs one in the afternoon. Don't worry, I won't let you leave till you see him. You're his favorite uncle.
She pats Isaac anxiously.
Was it wise to enlist?
No work down south. I figured I'd join before I got drafted, get my choice of assignment.
Doing what?
Oh, longshoreman. I found it interesting work when I visited you before. Why, the yards look good now, and not far from you.
You could live with us.
In the city, somewhere. Sure.
Did they tell you where you're going?
Overseas. I go to the West Coast and then...
Sounds far away. Is it safe?
Mom, I'm going to the Pacific, the middle of the war. All I can tell you, all I know.
So it's dangerous. Want some motherly advice?
I'm going to get some anyway, yes?
Sarah smiles.
If you do what you're told and keep your mouth shut, you'll come home safe and sound.
You've told me and Rosa that when we wouldn't move with you to the Bronx.
You know where you live. If you want to survive as a black man, you have to hold your tongue, no matter what whitey say, even if he's wrong, dead wrong. And when it's your time to speak, and he'll tell you it's yes, sir, and no, sir, with your head down, like you was on a plantation.
Yes, ma'am. How about up here?
Oh, it's some different. It kept you safe before the war, didn't it?
Did?
And it'll keep you safe during the war and after,
Even if it's not the Bronx?
even if it's not Brooklyn.
Blackout. He takes off his jacket and crosses to the bench. He puts on the jacket with the medal and sergeant stripes that could be ripped off. He crosses to the bus and sits in the stage left seat of the back row. Jimmy enters and crosses to the bus and sits in the stage right seat of the back row. Lights come up, they're sitting in the back row. It's evening. Jimmy takes out a flask from a pocket and drinks. He offers it to Isaac. Isaac shakes his head. Jimmy takes another drink and offers the flask to Isaac.
Sure?
Isaac shakes his head. Jimmy extends his right hand.
Name's Jimmy.
Isaac shakes his hand.
Isaac.
Bible name.
Yes.
An Old Testament saint who went blind. But if it went good for him later, all of us. But if it went good for him later, all of us. Like now. Colored folk will get more respect with you all coming home, even the wounded. Walking down the street in your uniforms, you'll be saluted.
Jimmy salutes Isaac.
And when we go into a store, our heads will be held high, and white storekeepers will say, yes, sir, and no, sir. Yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. Yes'm, a new day's coming. Hallelujah!
Isaac shakes his head slowly.
If you were only a prophet.
Jimmy takes a drink and offers Isaac a flask again.
Don't want to pee again before I get to Winsboro. You saw what happened already with the bus driver. Not a good start for your new day.
You didn't have to be so mean about it. College folks have to go too. How long do you think he'd have to hold the bus to let you off? Couldn't have thought it'd make him late. What, a minute to pee? All I needed in my prime, off any bus. Now, we'll take a bit more to get started. Well, it takes a bit more to get, now it takes a bit more to get started. But he calmed down right quick. You were cool. He'll change someday too, you'll see.
Isaac looks off stage left.
Why we stopped here? It's not on the schedule.
Don't know.
Isaac keeps looking out the window.
And the driver left the bus. Why so?
Well, you know white folks.
Jimmy shrugs his shoulders. Jimmy notices Isaac's stripes and medals.
You're important, aren't you?
Just a sergeant.
Well, how'd you get those? Not from just showing up.
In a war, you either take a bullet and die, or dodge a bullet and get a stripe. Each battle, or so you're in.
Real bad, wasn't
Them medals?
Oh, that's him. That's
Oh.
Jimmy.
Sorry. Can't say it.
it? I didn't hear you nod.
Sorry.
Just kidding. Them medals?
Isaac gets more animated. He touches each one as he names them.
Good Conduct Medal, Service Medal, World War II Victory Medal.
You're decorated. Like a Christmas tree. Your mom will be right proud of you.
I sent her a picture. I hope she got it.
At least you made it home.
With good advice from her.
Jimmy waves a finger at Isaac.
Always listen to your mama.
Yes, sir, to
And-
both. Oops.
Sorry.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Always listen to your mama. And do what Jesus said.
Yes, sir, to both of them always.
Linwood enters from stage left. He crosses to the bus. He's tapping his nightstick in his hand and he's agitated. He reaches the front row of the seats and calls out to Isaac as he motions for Isaac to come forward.
Off the bus.
What's the matter, officer?
You know what's the matter. Over here, nigga.
Isaac rises from his seat and crosses to Linwood.
If it's about stopping the bus, that's cool now. The driver agreed to stop since there's no restroom on the bus. At least not for coloreds.
How long you been traveling on Greyhound?
3 hours since my discharge from the Army in Atlanta. I'm heading home for my wife.
Bus driver came to the station and said you were drunk and disorderly, bothering the other passengers. saying such no white lady should hear, saying such things as no white lady should hear on the bus or anywhere else.
Not so.
Linwood grabs Isaac, pulls him forward.
The driver wants you off the bus.
I didn't argue with them. I just asked them to treat me like a human being. That's all.
Who says you're at that level, boy?
Please,
Shut up.
Linwood pulls Isaac off the bus.
please.
Linwood hits Isaac hard on the head with his nightstick. Jimmy starts to stand up but sits down because he's afraid.
I said shut up.
Isaac grabs his head with both hands and falls to the ground. Linwood looks menacingly at Jimmy cowering in the seat. Linwood taps his nightstick in his palm.
You, nigger, see anything?
Jimmy shakes his head vigorously. He's scared.
Hear anything?
Jimmy shakes his head vigorously. He's scared. Linwood motions off the bus with his nightstick.
Get.
Hey, Ma, stop.
Linwood raises his nightstick and takes a step toward Jimmy. Jimmy stands hurriedly, crosses the front, and exits off the bus. Linwood looks down at Isaac and taps the nightstick.
Get up. Get up, nigger. I didn't hit you that hard. You've been in the army, you can take it.
I told you I wasn't drunk.
No nigger in the South, no nigger in South Carolina will talk to a white man like that, unless he was drunk.
Linwood hits Isaac in the head with his nightstick.
Where'd you steal those medals and sergeant stripes from, boy?
Isaac does not answer. He weaves back and forth from pain.
You hear me?
Linwood rips the medals and insignias off and throws them aside.
You won't be needing them picking cotton.
Isaac tries to grab the nightstick and Linwood pulls it away.
Want to fight, huh?
No, no, no.
Linwood grabs Isaac.
What'd you say?
I said no.
Linwood pushes Isaac back.
In this town, it's no sir.
Linwood beats Isaac ferociously and jams his nightstick into Isaac's eyes with great force. The nightstick breaks. Isaac puts his hands to his eyes, takes them away, revealing blood coming from his eyes.
My eyes, my eyes, my eyes.
Blackout. Linwood crosses to the courthouse. Isaac crosses to the courthouse. H.E. Quarles enters from stage left and crosses to the courthouse. As the lights come up, H.E. Quarles is sitting upstage in the judge's chair. Linwood is sitting in the stage left chair. Isaac in the stage right chair with his head down, holding his eyes in discomfort and bewilderment. Lights come up.
And?
I marched him right over here to the jail and booked him.
How far is the jail from the bus stop?
2 blocks.
He could walk on his own,
Yes, Your Honor.
without help.
Without help.
Did you hit the nigger again, Sheriff Schul?
No, Your Honor. All I did was tap him. Tap him once because he was unruly from drink. He wouldn't listen to me.
He was drunk.
I could smell it. Anyone could smell it.
Why is the nigger's uniform dirty, ripped? Where is his stripes, if he had any?
He was like this on the bus when I first saw him.
What rank were you, boy?
Isaac doesn't answer.
Got into a fight somewhere before he got on the bus. Beat up by some jealous nigger, him being in the army and all.
How'd this Isaac Woodworth get like this, head down, holding his eyes?
Must have fell in the cell during the night. What is the nigger's name, Your Honor?
H.E. Quarles looks at the papers on the bench.
Same difference.
He looks at Isaac and then at Linwood.
You didn't knock him down, Sheriff?
No, Your Honor. Just a tap at the bus stop, I told you. He walked on his own to the jail. I said that. No complaints when we reached there.
Quarles turns toward Isaac.
Is that the way it was, boy?
Isaac doesn't answer.
But you needed to help him to the courthouse this morning?
Yes, Your Honor. He was mighty drunk. You know how that makes a man, even the next day.
That's all of it, Sheriff?
Yes, Your Honor.
Witnesses?
2 white ladies. Very pretty, I was told, on the bus. Ones that were offended by this nigger's talk.
Names?
Well, they weren't there when I reached the bus. Batesville must have been there stopping. They got off.
Anyone else?
No, Your Honor, no one.
Have anything to say to the court, boy? About your behavior? Your wicked behavior?
Very bad behavior.
Isaac doesn't answer.
Why don't the niggers say anything?
Linwood looks over at Isaac and shakes his head. Linwood looks over at Quarles.
You know niggas, Your Honor.
Quarles sits back and decides.
Will the defendant rise? Please rise. The court,
Isaac doesn't rise. Quarles looks at Linwood and motions toward Isaac. Linwood's annoyed. He crosses to Isaac and puts his arm around Isaac's arm.
You heard the judge, boy.
Linwood helps Isaac stand up, but roughly. Isaac looks around bewildered, unable to see.
we don't have that kind of stuff here. It won't do in our town. The court finds you guilty of disorderly conduct and drunkenness and fines you $50.
Quarles bangs the gavel down. Isaac is startled, trembles, and holds his hands tighter to his eyes.
The nigger will pay the bailiff or spend 30 days hard labor on the road.
Quarles bangs the gavel down. Isaac trembles.
My lord, my lord.
Blackout. Linwood and Quarles exit. Isaac crosses to the marker. Lights come up to early morning.
Buddy of mine in the army in 43, standing right next to me on a ship, taking shrapnel, had his right arm blown clean off. Pain was so bad he didn't know his arm was gone. Pain was so bad for me, thought everything was dark because I couldn't even talk. I didn't know I was blind till the next day when the pain was better. And I took my hands away from my face. I couldn't see, and I didn't get no doctor's attention for several days. Didn't matter since the sheriff had punctured my eyeballs with his nightstick, and I was blind from that moment on. The story of my rest was in the papers, and NAACP carted me around to churches in a number of cities to show how Negroes in the South were treated. Nothing seemed to come of that. I heard the sheriff was tried in federal court. His attorney said, if the defendant's found guilty, South Carolina should secede from the Union again. Sheriff Shull was found not guilty in 25 minutes by the jury. Enough's enough! So I went to my mother's house in the Bronx and lived there for the rest of my life. Cut out a little church, the deli. That's about it. I couldn't do much else. My nephew told me some famous folk singer, Woody Guthrie, wrote a song about me. And President Truman got real mad, horrified, he said in a speech when he heard what happened.
Isaac shrugs and raises his arms.
So what, I thought, so what?
Lights come up to morning. Jan, Lancer, Richard, Don, and Milford enter from stage right and slowly cross to the marker. Isaac watches the lights come up and the others crossing to the marker.
Finally, the dedication is going to start. Sometimes 2 blocks in eternity to walk.
Isaac crosses to the stage left of the marker and to the bench. He takes off his jacket and puts on the jacket with medals and stripes.
I'm ready.
Isaac smooths out his jacket and straightens his tie.
Do I look as handsome as my mother said I would?
All the others arrive at the marker. Lancer steps to the podium.
A beautiful sunny day. A beautiful sunny February morning today, fit for the dedication of this marker and a fresh start for our town. Thank you, Reverend Simpkins, for your invocation. Now I'd like Judge Gergel, who worked tirelessly to have the conviction of Isaac expunged from the record, and Mr. Don North, who brought the idea of a marker to fruition, unveil the marker. As they do, I've asked Mr. Robert Young, Isaac's nephew, to read the text.
Richard and Milford step up to the marker and they take off the black covering and stand next to Lancer. Robert steps to the podium. Mayor Shull, distinguished guests, and members of the community, I'm glad so many of you have come to the dedication of this marker in honor of my uncle. He was the finest man I ever met and didn't deserve the cruelty inflicted upon him that evening here in February 1946. However, the family's grateful for what transpired as a result of this tragedy and how your towns now acknowledge the great injustice suffered by my uncle.
Robert was only 12 when I went to live with him, and Mama, after the war, grew up to be a fine man, he did. took good care of me.
Robert turns to the marker and motions to it. Sergeant Isaac Woodard, a black soldier, was removed from a bus in Batesburg on February 12, 1946, after a dispute with the bus driver. Woodard was beaten and blinded by the town police office, and the next day convicted in town court for drunk and disorderly. The incident led Harry Truman to form a Council on Civil Rights and issue Executive Orders 9980 and 9981, which desegregated the United States Armed Forces and federal government in 1948.
I just sat at home in the Bronx. Robert told me what was going on. I didn't listen.
The incident changed Federal Judge J. Wattis Waring, who proceeded over the trial in October of that year of Sheriff Scholl. Judge Waring, upon the shocking acquittal of the police officer charged with violating Sergeant Woodard's civil rights and blinding him, would issue landmark civil rights rulings, including a dissent in Briggs versus Elliott in 1952. This ruling would become the model for the famous Brown versus Board of Education decision in 1954.
After what I saw in the war and what happened to me on the way home, the civil rights movement, protest marches, violence and killing in the streets, even in the churches, should I have done something? I didn't think I could.
Uncle Isaac, you'll always be an inspiration to many around the nation and a hero. But most of all, you'll always be my uncle.
Thank you, Robert. I'm learning a lot more now.
Robert smiles, steps away from the podium. Lancer returns to the podium.
Could we have Brigadier General Beagle, commanding officer of Fort Jackson, where Isaac was inducted into the Army, come up and say a few words?
Lancer steps away and Milford steps to the podium.
In my heart, I believe Isaac would think his sacrifice was worth it, creating the conditions that paved the way for an integrated army. He helped build the bridge that many, like me, used to cross the river of inequality, injustice, and prejudice. Many have said this tragedy sparked the whole civil rights movement in our country. I'm only sorry Isaac could not see this day, having passed away 27 years ago.
I thought it had ended back then, like in that song I heard on the radio by that folk singer, The Blinding of Isaac Woodward. It's now you've heard my story. There's one thing I can't see, how you could treat a human like they treated me. I thought I fought on the islands to get rid of that kind, but I can see the fight gets plainer now that I am blind.
Milford steps away from the podium. Lancer steps to the podium. Isaac raises his hands over the scene and nods.
Yet now this.
Today's dedication should inspire other towns to have a conversation about racism. Deeply entrenched in the roots of the Jim Crow past, this should be an inspiration to those rugs out, and this should be an inspiration to pull those rugs out and sweep up what's been underneath them for years. This lets people know love will always overtake hate over time. Love will always win out.
Lancer steps away. They all greet each other, shake hands, look at the marker, and slowly cross stage right and exit. Isaac watches the others and is pleased. Then he crosses to the marker and touches it.
A little late for me, but maybe not for this town.
He runs his hand over the Braille writing and is pleased.
In Braille, too.
Lights remain on the marker. Isaac crosses to the bench and picks up the jacket and cane. He crosses stage right and exit. As he exits, the spotlight comes off him as if he disappears. Blackout, end of play.
Okay, Del, would you stay there and
Okay?
talk about it?
Yep.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
It's all right.
Good, because I can't put it
Yeah.
into order here.
Just too much paper.
Yeah, too much.
you wanna start and tell how this idea came to pass?
Well, Stanley saw an article in the New York Times and reminded me of it, thought more of it than I did to begin with, and this dedication service did happen this year, this past February in South Carolina. And then the more we read about the story, everything that you've seen and heard happened, just the way it was. And this actually was the spark of the entire civil rights movement in this country, this episode. Interestingly, Isaac himself, I think it's rather nuanced because, of course, he was blinded. He was also in the war. And perhaps some combination of the two, he with PTSD, he just went home and he just had nothing to do with anything afterward. Never really appreciated what occurred based upon what he went through.
How did they find out that, the sheriff had been lying?
Well, because what happened was he went to court and they did have witnesses. But the first time he was tried, the government didn't even make an effort to find him. So what he said was, what happened? And they didn't even follow up and find these other people that have been on a bus. There were others on the bus.
So this was the local government of, in South Carolina at the time. At what point was he, he went home to see his mother.
Yeah.
At what point was that because he was out of jail, he had served his time, or?
Who, Isaac?
Yeah, Isaac.
No, he didn't go to jail. He just paid the $50.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
somebody paid that for him.
Paid the fine.
He was in the VA for 6 months. Then he went home to, because he couldn't take care of himself, he went to the Bronx and lived with his mother the rest of his life. And she died, and then his nephew took over.
So how did it come about they found people who said that the story that had been told was
Well,
wrong?
because I said that they carted him around the country. The story came out. The federal government, President Truman found out about it. He's horrified. They said they did a federal course, a federal grand jury, and indicted him and tried him in federal court. But they didn't even, the government didn't even make an effort to go after all the witnesses. So all this information kind of came out later.
So it was the NAACP that and forced,
Right.
took up the cause. Yeah.
But what got started after, even though Isaac went to Bronx, the sheriff got off, but then Truman was so upset about this, he did start this council on, this committee on civil rights, and all their recommendations ultimately produced all the laws that wound up with Brown v. Board of Education in 1954.
And
Was the
Isaac,
sheriff convicted the second time?
No, they didn't try him again.
Oh, they didn't try.
you can't do that, but.
Double jeopardy. Double jeopardy.
And we,
Well, back then, they didn't do anything.
and we know that Isaac didn't have any reaction that he was vindicated and all that.
In fact, in 1954, in the magazine Jet, they talked about him being the forgotten man of the civil rights movement. He just sat there in the Bronx and
But we know that from people who knew him, that he didn't have any reaction.
hardly any, his nephew told him stuff and it just bounced off and he
Okay,
just
yeah.
couldn't care anymore. He just was, enough's enough.
What I find interesting, when did that ceremony take place?
February 10th, 2019.
This year.
Yeah.
And what I find interesting is that one of the speakers said, it's time we start a discussion about racism and how our relations. Yeah. At this point in time, to begin a discussion, that we start talking about it. It's just amazing to me.
Well, do we know what the language that you attributed to the judge, was it H.E. Quarles?
Yeah.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
And was that, do we know he actually said what he said, in court?
Some of that.
Boy.
Some of
and
that
nigger.
is dramatic.
I'm sorry?
Some of that's dramatic, putting things together, but basically that's the attitude, the way it was treated.
So he would say boy and nigger as a judge.
Oh, in
Oh, they talk
1940s?
about that?
Sure, come on.
As a judge?
In the South?
They
Yeah.
do that now.
Yeah, come on.
So when you said just in 2019, they're starting a conversation, that's
Yeah.
exactly right.
I find that fascinating.
I don't, the conversation's been started years ago. That's not.
But not in all little towns, different places.
Well,
I'm glad you took up the cause to inquire, but, to awareness.
He was horribly treated.
Hmm.
This is our country. He came out with medals, stripes.
Yeah, and his
This is
friend,
what happened. 3 hours after he got out of the army.
Yeah.
3 hours,
And-
all he had of safety in this country.
Yeah.
After serving in a battle zone for 4 years. And he got 3 hours
all right.
of safety
And his
in
friend,
this country.
and who was this friend with him that said, you know, when they find out that you're gonna get, yes, sir, they're gonna be respectful of you and everything?
And that's the way people did feel after, that's the way the black people felt. They thought these things were really gonna change.
Yeah.
They didn't change at all.
We're going back.
In fact, they were jealous of them. They were jealous. They wanted to put them down. What do these people think they're doing? Coming back in their uniform, strutting around. This is how they were
Uppity
treated.
niggas, yes.
Yeah, right.
Didn't we do a play about
Yeah,
that,
we
Delvin?
did,
Your play last year,
Yeah.
about the soldier who got lynched
Right.
because he was strutting around in his uniform.
yeah.
No, I don't think that was mine. Somebody
That
else.
wasn't yours?
No.
Oh,
But there
Stanley
wasn't another.
directed it.
I think, yeah,
I always put that
Right.
together, yeah.
but yeah. You know, that's the way they were treated. They were treated the exact opposite.
Okay.
All right, thank
So-
you.
So we have,
That was, nice piece of work.
Thank you. Thank you, very kind.
there, the next one we have is titled Secret Weapon. Whoops. Yeah. Okay, and, so, let's see, we have, Bob and Tony come back up for this one, all right? So, Bob B. Fahir, Tony B. Mohammed, and Marjorie B. Mursal, and then we need stage directions. Stage directions, anybody? I don't know, it'd be good if a woman did it, because I have enough, but come Sherry, to stage directions. And please, everybody, speak loudly. Project, even though it's a small room. Hi. How are you?
Nice to you.
Later. I know.
This seems to be the stage direction seat, right?
Yes, that is it.
Okay, this is Secret Weapon by Delvyn Case.
Are we missing somebody?
Excuse me, could everybody please speak
Yeah,
up?
Bob.
I'm having trouble hearing.
What happened to Bob?
I went to the bathroom.
Oh,
Now?
Dan, go do it.
Bob, when you come,
I'll give him another one, I've got plenty of men's rules.
Should I read the characters and all that stuff? We should look.
No,
I think it
no,
will.
no.
It's highlighted as if I were to.
Yeah.
No?
No.
He's
I don't
back.
care, whatever you want me to do.
You're up, Bob.
What?
You're up again.
I took
Okay, Bob.
Pardon? Yeah, I wrote all
Hurry up,
Oh.
Roland.
Such demand.
We do all Delvin today.
Who am I?
Okay,
Who
so.
am I?
Okay.
You're Fahim.
Fahim,
Fahim.
Fahim, page 2.
You started?
No.
No.
Right, the characters are Fahim, a government vaccinator, age 25. Muhammad, who is Fahim's driver, age 20. Mursal, a housewife in a village in Kandahar province in Afghanistan, who is 22.
can I ask what that means, vaccinator?
Someone who brings around to vaccinate
Oh.
children,
Actual
like in the
vaccinator.
United States.
Okay, I thought maybe it was something,
It takes place in the present, in the morning, 2018.
It takes place outside Marsal's home in a village in Kandahar province. Set, an open doorway of a home at center stage. Off stage right is a bright red balloon and 2 full water bottles. Fahim is dressed in an open collar, long sleeve, light blue dress shirt.
Well, you don't have to do the costume.
Oh,
Did I-
Moore carries a clipboard.
Yeah.
I'm
Like
just
word.
reading everything that's been highlighted.
Yeah, all right.
He carries a clipboard with several pieces of paper with the names of residents in the village and a small blue plastic cooler in which there's oral polio vaccine. All right. A government vaccinator is sent to a village in Kandahar province, Afghanistan, to provide oral polio vaccine for the children. As the lights come up, Marsala is standing upstage and stage left of the open doorway, unseen by the audience. Fahim and Muhammad enter from stage right exit, and cross to the doorway. When Fahim and Muhammad reach the doorway, Fahim starts to knock on the stage right door frame of the door.
Don't,
Fahim does not knock and pulls his hand back.
not this house.
Fahim looks at the clipboard.
The boy here's on the list.
Muhammad shakes his head.
His mother won't let you in.
We have to try.
Fahim knocks.
There's no man in the house.
Where's her husband?
The village was overrun by the Taliban 2 years ago. Where do you think he is?
You should have brought.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's
okay.
it.
No, it's fine.
You should have brought a woman with you. There's many widows in this village. You won't get very far.
Where can I get a female agent? The government has very few. There's no time anyway. I have to finish this village by lunch and prayer time.
Fahim waves and taps the clipboard at Muhammad.
We have a lot to do today.
Not my problem. I'm just the driver.
What should I do?
Bring me wheat and soup.
She's come out. No problem.
Surprise, surprise.
Sorry, I don't have any food.
Water too. The well's dry. I have no money to buy water from the tanker.
I have medicine.
Water.
No water.
We have water in that truck.
If we give her water, everyone in the village will want some.
Then you can't help me.
I can, with medicine.
Go away.
For your son, a vaccine.
It'll make him sterile.
Is that what he thinks?
Fahim looks at the clipboard.
He's 5. What does he know? I'll try to be nice.
Taliban said so. Said my boy wouldn't be a man. Had no family.
You don't have to believe them. They're gone. I'm from the government. You can trust me. You can trust the government. Let him have the medicine now, and he'll grow up to be a healthy man. Have many children, many sons.
Come closer. I'll spit on you.
Fahim backs up, shocked.
You're a spy. I can tell.
How can she think?
Blame her? What's the government done for her? Protect her husband when the Taliban came?
I'm not a spy. Besides, health's important to our religion. We must use every proper thing to ensure our health. All the imams say that. Will you be able to take care of your son if he contracts polio and can't walk? Do you want that? When I see a polio victim, I cry.
The Taliban shot my husband when you came last year.
Wasn't me. I'm new.
To vaccinate our boy. My boy now.
It wasn't.
That won't help.
You're safe now. The whole province is safe now. The government soldiers drove the Taliban out. The government did do something.
Muhammad raises his arms in mocking agreement.
What can I do to have your son take one drop of vaccine? One little drop. It doesn't hurt. There's no taste.
Promise he won't get sick.
Promise.
Will you bring me some water?
Muhammad taps Fahim's arm.
We have water in the truck.
You told me. Yes. What do you think?
I don't know.
Time for the secret weapon.
Does it work?
Always, in every village. Your son. His name's Abdul. Tell Abdul I have something for him.
Will he like it?
Yes. I'll be right back.
Fahim turns towards stage right, crosses to the stage right exit, and exits stage right.
Where'd the man go?
To the truck.
Is this a trick?
No trick.
Will he hurt me or my son?
No.
Sure?
I know him. His family.
Is he getting a gun?
No gun.
Whispering. Water?
I hope so. Yes.
Do you have any food?
Have you eaten today? We'll do what we can.
Fahim enters from stage right exit. He carries a red balloon and 2 bottles of water. He crosses to Muhammad and the doorway.
I have the gift for your son.
Pretty.
Show him. Abdul, would you like a balloon?
Marsal sheepishly enters from the doorway. Fahim hands the balloon to Marsal. Marsal takes the balloon.
It won't hurt him. Abdul can have the balloon if he'll swallow one drop, one teeny drop of the vaccine.
Can I have the water?
Fahim hands 2 bottles of water to Marsal, and Marsal takes the bottles.
Food?
They haven't eaten today.
After Abdul's vaccinated,
I don't know.
get what we have in the truck.
Muhammad nods, turns and crosses to the stage right exit, and exits.
Abdul says yes. After I get the food.
I'm in the script. Are you not? I've been winging it. This has been
Blackout.
very different, the script that I had. Lots
Oh,
of,
okay.
made a lot of
I was
edits.
wondering
Just sort of following the
about that.
gist.
Abdul says yes, Fahim nods and smiles. Marsal, after I get the food, Fahim stops smiling. Spot number 1 off of Fahim and Marsal, blackout, Afghan music stops, end of play.
I don't have those words on
I was just
mine. No, this must have been one of your first drafts.
Yeah.
So there were big sections that were missing, but I can kind of follow this. I can follow it.
And you did a terrific.
Sorry, I wasn't loud enough. I was like so into it. I didn't get what you were trying to tell me.
I have to read that last part again, I'm sorry. I just wanted to see it.
Okay, we're just gonna go right through, all right? So, the next one is 3 coffins. There's no comedies tonight, all right?
I have a feeling.
Oh, yes, that's right, the last one.
Oh.
I don't know.
Even laughing.
Yeah. Okay, so, Annette and
When she
Polly,
asked for the food, I stopped smiling, which means pretty much I don't have food for her, basically.
that's stage directions.
At least that's what I
Okay,
mean.
so Janet and Gulab, yes? G-U-L-A-B, Gulab?
Yep,
Yep, okay. And,
I thought you wanted me to be Gulab.
no, but, yeah, that's why you And, Michael, you wanna come do Colonel Kadir?
Sure.
And stage direction. You wanna do stage direction? Okay. Loud.
Wow.
Okay, loud. That I can do. 3 coffins. Delvyn Case. Characters, Jeanette Beebe. Janet Beebe. Mother and grandmother caring for a large family, age 15. Gulab Beebe, Janet's daughter, age 18. Colonel Abdul Kadir,
Yep.
local head of Army recruiting, age 55. Time, mid-morning, spring, present, 2019. Place, home of Janet Beebe in the village of Shamal, Afghanistan. A dingy living room with scattered Persian-type rugs on the floor. At center stage are 3 adult-sized plain pine coffins on old chairs or tables with the bottom of the coffins facing downstage. There is an old chair next to the stage right side of the coffins. Synopsis: an Afghan mother, grandmother, faces the reality of the death of her son and 2 grandsons dying in one.
Don't say all that, please. Yeah,
It's
don't say
highlighted,
I don't
that's
want-
why.
Yeah, no, my
I don't
fault.
want any of that.
It was highlighted,
Yeah.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
As the lights come up, Janet is sitting in the chair next to the 3 coffins with her left hand on the coffin next to her. She is looking blankly down stage. Laughter and crowd noises from off stage left. Gulab enters from stage left and crosses to Janet. Janet continues to look blankly down stage. Janet looks at,
The mourners are ready to come in, Mother.
Janet looks at Gulab and pats the coffin next to her.
I need a few minutes.
Are they getting enough to eat?
Nobody in the village will go hungry today.
It's going to cost me a fortune. Who's here? Oh, that's you, I'm sorry. Nobody in the village will go hungry today.
It's going to cost me a fortune. Who's here?
Everyone who could walk or be carried.
Janet wipes away a tear. Gulab crosses closer to Janet and puts her hand on Janet's left shoulder. Janet puts her hand on Gulab's hand. Janet rises. She kisses each coffin and sits down again.
It'll cost me all the money I'm getting from the army just for the funerals. What about the 7 more children I have to support? With them gone, feed them, clothe them, send them to school. Will cleaning homes be enough?
You said
Impossible.
you'd get long-term benefits from the Army for their services and death.
If I ever get the paperwork from the government.
Janet shakes with agitation. Gulab holds her mother with her hand and arm. Janet then calms down and acts resolved.
Is Colonel Kadir here?
Gulab nods and takes her arm away.
Send him in.
Do you think it was a good idea to invite him to the funeral? You know what he'll want.
What choice do we have? Work in the fields? What grows there anymore? Land mowings?
Janet motions for Gulab to bring Colonel Kadir in.
He's been talking with Suleiman and some of the other boys. I don't like that.
Suleiman's 12.
Only 12.
He needs to know what he should do when he comes of age. Please.
Gulab turns and motions toward the stage left exit. Colonel Kadir enters from the stage left and crosses to Janet and Gulab. As he reaches Janet and Gulab, he takes off his hat.
My condolences, Mrs. Bieber, and to you, Gulab.
It's comforting you're here, Colonel.
Janet wipes away a tear. Colonel Kadir motions toward the coffins.
A heavy burden for you to bear today, but know they died for their country, died for the cause of peace.
I wish I were young and a man. I'd join the military and take revenge for their deaths.
Spoken, like a true patriot.
But talking with the young boys of all days.
It's all right, Gulab.
The boys all want to serve, and know I'm in charge of recruiting here. can get them good deployments.
But the dangers, death, 40 soldiers a day.
Don't believe all you hear on the radio, but you can believe we have many young men waiting in line to join the Army every day. I see them.
It's the only way around here to make money.
No one pays like the Army. It keeps this whole community fed.
So it is the money.
It's out of patriotism and a sense of natural duty that your mother asked me here, I'm sure.
You've talked with Suleiman?
He's a good boy. He wants to serve our country to end the war.
Colonel Kadir touches a coffin.
And he's been inspired by the men in his family.
He's tall for his age, muscular too.
Looks older, yes?
What's going on?
He's ready to go?
You're not mother, not my brother.
Suleiman qualifies for the cadet program and can join the regular army when he's 15. Looks like that now.
Gulab takes Janet's arm.
You need more money, don't you?
To live. For the whole family, yes.
I know that, Mother. To keep Suleiman in school and let him grow up, I'll quit school and return to work.
Janet takes Gulab's arm away.
For what you'd make working with me, we'd survive with that.
Colonel Kadir turns toward Gulab and shakes a finger at her.
Listen to your mother. She knows best.
Not Suleiman. They let cadets into...
Colonel Kadir holds up hands to protest.
They learn to handle weapons, yes, but rarely go into
So they can go into battle.
the most advanced weapons. From the U.S. we get.
Don't let him go, Mother.
Gulab points to the coffins.
You've lost a husband and 2 sons in one day. My father and 2 brothers, no more.
But Gulab.
Suleiman's going to die.
Suleiman's bag's packed. He did it himself. You'll be proud of him.
I am already, Colonel.
Gulab puts her hands on her head in distress. Janet motions for Colonel Kadir to exit.
The whole village will be. You'll be proud of your brother, too.
Little brother. Colonel.
Colonel Kadir makes a forced smile at Gulab, turns and crosses toward the stage left exit.
You can't.
Gulab turns and crosses to stage left.
You can't.
Gulab reaches stage left exit and exits stage left. Janet sits down and sighs deeply with relief. She puts her hand on the coffin next to her and calls out towards stage left.
Gulab, dear, let everyone come in now.
End of play.
Okay. Thank you. Our next play is titled Bus Stop.
I think I've heard that.
Yeah. Chevy?
And that's the music I thought we'd play at the beginning of this play,
Oh,
by the Hollies.
yeah.
Bus
Yeah.
stop, bus go, she stays local,
Uh-huh.
under my umbrella.
Graham Nash was the
And you get to
singer.
sing.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in a
He
Hollies.
was original with the Hollies.
Okay. So, bus stop. Wanda
Tells you how old I am.
and, let's see, we're back to the men again. Larry, Marwan, and Dan Ahmed. We're rotating you guys around.
I feel like we're being used.
These are
But not abused.
Oh, okay. Well, it's numbers.
Oh, and stage directions, you want stage directions?
nobody did mark like that.
Stage directions.
That's all right.
Oh, do it again? Tony, go ahead.
I'll remember.
I think we'll do it.
Okay, here we go. Characters. Nizri, Syrian woman, age 22. Marwan, a Syrian man, age 25. Ahmad, a Syrian rebel soldier, age 25. Time late afternoon, spring of the present. Place a bus loading in Madaya, Syria. It stopped at a roadblock along the route to Adlib, Syria. Two worn bus seats slightly left of center stage. Lively Syrian music, blackout, music stops, bus engine starts, bus starts to move. Spot on Nizreen as lights come up and widen to cover the others. Let's see, Nizreen is sitting stage left seat. Next to her is her suitcase. She's looking vacantly, stage left. Marwan enters from upstage center, carries his backpack. He looks intently right and left for a seat. He crosses it to Nizreen and stops at the vacant stage right seat.
There are no seats on the bus except this one. Really, I looked.
I believe you. I saw you when you got on.
It's a long ride, 200 miles, what, 6 hours?
On these roads?
So, overnight. Can I sit here? I can't sleep standing up.
Till we get to Idlib, can't sit together there.
I know.
Nizreen takes her bag off the seat, puts it on her feet. She motions for Marwan to sit down. Marwan sits.
Thanks.
Takes off his backpack, puts it on the ground. Nizreen takes out cell phone, looks at pictures. Marwan looks over at pictures. Nizreen motions towards cell phone.
Big family, lots of nieces, nephews.
I heard the government's bombing that province now.
With the defeated rebels and jihadists going there on these buses, it'll only get worse.
You?
What? What's so funny?
Which of those groups are you in? Daesh? Al-Qaeda?
I'm just a nobody. What do I care about civil war? It's the Syrians killing Syrians. No sense to it. I just want to take care of my husband and son. You?
They had a bus and said, get on! We'll be safe there. The rebels didn't quit there till the Russians got into it.
Russians? Name's Nisreen.
I shouldn't say.
Make one up.
Mohammed.
Good choice. Idlib wasn't bad 2 months ago. Family's already there. Came back to Madaya on an empty bus. The government let me. To look for my parents. After I begged and begged.
Find them?
The streets, nothing but rubble, found nobody.
It'd be good to get back with your husband and son.
Right. My husband phoned me yesterday. Said my son came home from school and announced he wanted to join jihad.
How old?
8. Some school. I gotta get him out.
I hope there are jobs there.
What do you do?
Act.
You kidding?
Loved it at school. A lot going on in theater before the war.
Good talent to have in Syria.
Amazing. University's still open in Idlib. Want to take more classes?
Come on. Do they really teach acting in a war zone?
To the politicians, maybe.
You're funny. Good luck.
Break a leg.
I get it.
You?
Women's health, herbs, you know. They won't let me do that. Anything in Idlib.
You can't dress like you are either when we get there.
In Damascus, where I live, all girls dress chic.
You look nice. I shouldn't have said that.
It's okay. Thanks.
You said Damascus. I thought you said...
Bus stops abruptly.
What's going on?
A roadblock. 3 guys out there with guns.
What's a guy without a gun?
Ahmad enters from center stage, crosses to Nizreen and Marwan. As Ahmad crosses crosses Nizreen and Marwan stop talking and look anxious. Ahmad looks at Nizreen intently.
Why are you sitting there?
There are no other seats.
I meant her. This bus for men.
They put me on this bus in Madaya. There are other women.
I want you off the bus.
Why?
Now.
Will there be another bus coming for women?
Soon, yes.
I don't see anyone there waiting.
That's none of your business. Dressed like a righteous Muslim woman.
It's dark. Will it be safe out there?
Where is your family?
I went back to Madaya to bring my in-laws to Adlib.
In-laws?
As I said,
Ahmad motions for Nizreen to get up. Nizreen grabs her suitcase and stands up.
You're traveling alone? That's haram.
we're not in Idlib.
Haram!
Marwan hurriedly picks up his backpack, stands up, surprised. Ahmad pushes Marwan down into his seat.
Where are you going?
With her,
Who are you?
her husband.
What?
We're married, see?
You better be. Touching a woman like that?
We are.
I don't believe.
And we have a child. A daughter.
Name?
Oops.
No,
You tell me.
Fatima,
No,
Oh.
Fatima.
daughter of the Prophet, the most blessed name a girl could have, our daughter.
No.
I have her picture on my phone.
She does, of our daughter.
Fatima,
You have no daughter.
Nizreen finds her phone, takes it out, looks on the phone.
Come on, hurry.
it's here, I'll find it.
Fatima, it is her name.
Our daughter, yes.
Very beautiful.
Nizreen finds the photo and shows it to Ahmad.
Will make wonderful wife someday for soldier of the army of God.
Okay, off the bus, both of you.
Why?
Because I told you.
Marwan stands up and crosses past Ahmad. He crosses to center stage and stops. Nizreen takes her suitcase, crosses toward Ahmad. As Nizreen reaches Ahmad, Ahmad grabs her arm firmly and pulls her close to him.
You're hurting me.
Ahmad pulls her hijab away from her face and hair.
I've got something special planned for you tonight.
Come, wife.
Ahmad spits with contempt and pushes Nizreen away. Covering her hair with the hijab, Nizreen hurriedly crosses to the stairs and stands close to Marwan, holding her hijab tightly.
You still look nice.
What?
I told her, don't worry.
Marwan holds up his back toward Nizreen, and Nizreen nods. Ahmad and Nizreen exit off the center stairs. Ahmad points his rifle menacingly towards Marwan and Nizreen off stage. Lively Syrian music.
Ah,
Ahmad exits off the center stage stairs. Blackout. Bus engine starts. Bus starts moving. 3 gunshots in rapid succession. Bus sounds and Syrian music off.
the end.
All right.
The whole point in there is who's telling the truth. Is anything any of them saying, and does he deserve to hear the truth?
You're the bully.
Oh.
Okay, coffee break is the next one.
This is a good time to have a coffee.
Yeah,
What could happen in a coffee shop?
God only knows. The way things are rolling. It'll be a mafia deal now.
okay, coffee break. We need Sherry to come and read Hadith, And Nancy, who just left,
I think she was.
will read Faraman. And Michael, you want to come read Abdul?
Sure.
Do you want to read any more, or do you prefer to listen, don't you?
No, I'm
prefer
not
listen?
to do anything.
All right, well, no, go ahead, Michael, we've got plenty more. All right, so give it a minute. Give it a minute for Nancy to
Call us
come
when we go
back.
to the bathroom, I guess.
Yeah. What's the story here? Hasn't read for a while. All right, tell you what, I'll save the, no, I don't wanna save because I don't have that many more. Who wants to read stage directions? Stage directions. You wanna read stage directions? Okay. Okay, so as soon as Nancy comes back, we'll start again. Never. Once I was forced to.
Which page you're on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I know.
It's not like stage direction. I don't know if they read some read, some they don't. So if I wait, and this doesn't read it, then that puts me down. If I read it,
What is it with autumn? You're going to the bathroom.
You don't say you're going to go to the bathroom. I'm gonna go to the
I know.
Come back, you'll be into Kilmarnock.
You're reading Faraman?
Who am I?
Faraman?
This is coffee bread. Characters are Abdul, an Afghan university student, age 20. Hadis, an Afghan university student, female, age 18. Farhanar, an Afghan university student, female, age 19. It's mid-morning in the President Jackson Coffee Shop, Kabul. We're at a table, 4 chairs. On the table, 2 cups, and on one of the chairs is Abdul's backpack. All right. As the lights come up, Abdul enters from the stage right, carrying 2 coffee cups with saucers. Coffee crosses the tables. Afghan music fades out. Abdul reaches the table, puts the cups of coffee on puts the cups of coffee at 2 of the chairs. Hadis and Franha enters from the center stairs and crosses the table. As they cross, they take off their headscarves and they cross speaking to each other.
A woman called me a pig.
Me worse.
Farhana
What do you think?
turns around to show Hadis her jeans.
What do you think? Cute. Yours too.
Abdul points to the 2 cups of coffee he just brought.
I got your coffee.
What a gentleman. Thank you.
Abdul motions to the seats. 2 girls put their pockets on the ground. They take off their headscarves, put them on the back of the chairs, and sit down. Farhana takes a sip of coffee.
Very good today.
Called a few names on the street for wearing jeans.
We would have been whipped if we took off our headscarves out there.
Imagine being safe in a coffee shop, to wear jeans and take off our headscarves.
To be ourselves, not someone's daughter or sister, a human being.
And talk with guy friends, like you.
You both look nice today.
Better to flirt here than on the street. You know what happened.
My flirting? Guess I am. Was your day good?
You sound like you know.
Could hear it all around the city.
The girls' school across the street from my classroom was firebombed this morning before dawn. And another across the river. Farther. Right here. I think. Six.
Pages.
Page are we on?
Page 5.
Oh, pages. Oh, no. Pages are not in order.
Okay, that makes 6 this month.
It's the Taliban celebrating they're at the peace table, announcing what they'll do if they're part of the new government.
Lucky us.
You went to that school before university, didn't you?
There are 3 million girls in schools in Afghanistan now, and 100,000 in university. If the Taliban are part of the new government, there'll be no girls in any schools or universities, just like before.
There's already one less.
What do you mean?
Royal. She lives on my street, and she's not going back to school, not after the bombing at her school center.
Too scared?
Said today they blow up buildings, tomorrow us.
Would have made a good nurse.
Coffee shops will be next.
No way.
Aren't they a threat to them as much as schools are? Girls sitting around and talking?
But nuns have been bombed in Kabul for years.
They all drink coffee and brew.
This could be our last cup of coffee, if Abdul's right, our last taste of freedom.
Or, oh sorry,
And he sips her coffee inside.
or of being a real girl. Muhammad didn't come with you today?
Of course he did. He wouldn't miss his morning coffee for the world.
Better than the coffee at Simple's.
So,
He's in the men's room.
been there a long time.
And now point your finger at Mohammed's cup. Hadith brushes Farnar's finger away.
Don't do that.
It's getting cold. You know, Mohammed's been acting a little distant.
And his friends? My.
What do you mean?
I don't like them either. Are they in university?
No. Come on. I think they're all right.
Think?
Yes, he can have any friends he wants.
But
You don't imagine... Muhammad doesn't have a radical bone in his body, and he's not religious.
People can change, be influenced.
And grow their beards longer like his scuffy friends?
Idiot!
Farnar stands up.
Don't call me an idiot.
He didn't mean it.
Abdul doesn't respect me. He said that before, because I'm,
No,
Calm down, both of you. Of course he does.
I do. I'm sorry.
He does. See? We're friends.
Farnar sits
Sit.
down.
Muhammad doesn't talk anymore.
Okay, we'll ask him when he comes out. What's up?
Good.
we can't today. Mohammed's constipated.
Now, who's not being friendly?
It doesn't matter. We'd better go. We have a class.
They stand up. Farnar picks up her pocketbook. Farnar looks off stage and is concerned.
Isn't that one of Mohammed's new friends? Across the street? What's he doing there?
He looks familiar.
No way.
Sure?
He's nobody. Trust me.
Let's use the little girl's room before we leave.
Farnar head nods. Hadith and Farnar cross stage left. Jewel holds up one of the headscarves.
You forgot your...
We'll put them on before we leave.
They reach the stage left exit and exit. Abdul lets go of this headscarf. He sits down and drinks his coffee.
Run! Mohammed's in here. He's wearing a bomb.
Abdul runs off seven steps and exits.
What do you say?
Loud explosion from off stage left. Debris flies from off stage left. Chaotic Afghan music. Blackout.
Okay. Now, we have Fereshta, which is the Persian word for angel. Okay, and can I have, please, Bob, do you read Muladan? And that, Muladan, or Dan?
Dan, Mula,
Dan.
Dan.
And Dan, will you read Watan? And Delvyn, will you read Abdul?
On these laid out?
Any one of them, doesn't matter.
Any particular
And,
place I should sit?
you can sit wherever you want.
Preferably one of the chairs.
I wanna go back to the bathroom.
Oh, no, too late, you're up already. Okay, so I have one more woman's parts, and so I would suggest that Annette, Polly, or Wanda read stage directions?
I'll be stage stage.
No, wait a minute, but I had you, wait a minute, Polly, right? Oh, well, Annette, so you'll do the, I'm sorry. We have one more women's part.
I don't have too many different dialects for this part of the world.
Keep using the same
So
one.
which one am I doing? They do the stage directions.
I like it.
That's it, you know, we're in the same one.
But at least I got everybody.
You ready?
Correct me, my pronunciation. Muladan, that's somebody's name. Muladan, a Muslim cleric, age 50. Watan, an Afghan shepherd, age 20. Abdul, Afghan family negotiator, age 30. Morning, present 2019, outside a hospital in Kabul, Afghanistan. At center stage is a facade of the entrance of a hospital. At the center of the facade is the doorway. Above the doorway is written hospital in Persian, and below the Persian writing the word hospital in English. To the right of the doorway is a crude wooden bench. On the ground are scattered rocks, at least one of which could be used to drive nails into wood. Off stage right is a pile of newspapers. Mullah Dan, Watan, and Abdul are dressed in typical Afghan men's clothing consistent with their status. Each has a turban and sandals and a beard. Mullah Dan is holding a white linen shroud covering the body of a 2-year-old girl. The shroud is tied at the neck and ankles with white rope. Watan carries a coffin twice as long for a 2-year-old. The coffin has an unattached cover, nails for securing the cover, and a white lined pall to cover the top of the coffin. Abdul carries several sheets of 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper. Read the synopsis. A 2-year-old Afghan girl, victim of a roadside bomb, is being prepared to be transferred to her village for burial. Music, blackout. As the lights come up, Mullah Dan is sitting on the bench holding tenderly the shroud containing the body of the 2-year-old girl. He is looking with pity at the body. Watan enters from stage right carrying the coffin, pall, and nails. He crosses to Mullah Dan. Mullah Dan looks at Watan.
Too big.
All the carpenter had,
2-year-olds don't die?
every day.
Mullah Dan, annoyed, holds out his hand for change. Watan puts the coffin down and holds up his hand.
No change, $20 American for any coffin,
For
any coffin.
crooks!
We can stuff the coffin with newspapers since it is too big. There's a pile next to the garbage can.
She's not garbage.
I didn't say that.
Watan crosses to stage right and exits stage right. Mullah Dan stands and crosses to the coffin. He gently places the body into the coffin. Watan re-enters from stage right carrying a pile of newspaper. He crosses to Mullah Dan.
Here, let me help.
I'll do it. I've been close to the family.
Mullah Dan gently tucks in the body as Watan shakes his head.
She can't feel anything.
Her arms and legs were broken with the blast. I'm being gentle because... Never mind. Put the newspapers around her, like you said.
Watan crumples up pages of newspapers and puts them around the body in the coffin. He runs out of paper.
I'll get more.
Watan crosses to stage right and exits.
What might have become of you if you had lived? Would you have been the first girl in your family to go to school now that the Taliban's out of Nangarhar province?
Mullah Dan gently taps the body.
Your father hoped you would. He was a good man. Loved you as much as his boys.
Matan re-enters from stage right with papers and crosses to Muladan.
Afghanistan is changing with the Taliban on the run. In a few years.
Matan reaches Muladan, crumples up some papers and puts them into the coffin.
Yeah. Who are you talking to?
Muladan looks at the coffin.
She can't hear you. Besides, the Taliban's coming back.
Says who?
Least in Kabul. Oops, did I say that wrong line? I'm sorry. Says,
You're right.
says who?
You're right, right there. I'm trying to understand that connection there. Okay. Says who? Least in Kabul.
You're kidding yourself. You're kidding her too. About Kabul. 2 suicide bombings this week.
Muladan motions for the lid. Matan hands Muladan the lid and the nails. Muladan motions around looking for something to hammer in the nails.
I'll find something.
Muladan looks around, crosses to a stone about the size of a fist, crosses back to Muladan with a stone, hands the stone to Muladan, who then hammers the nails into the lid of the coffin.
Done.
Almost.
Muladan motions for the pall. Watan hands the pall to Muladan, who then drapes it over the top of the coffin and nods to Watan.
Where is the taxi?
Around the corner. Was the drive paid?
We'll figure it out.
Muladan starts to lift up the coffin to carry it. Watan helps Muladan lift up the coffin.
Pretty light, even with newspaper.
So innocent.
Muladan enters from stage left. He's waving pieces of paper. Abdul enters from stage left. He's waving pieces of paper as he hurriedly crosses.
Muladan,
Yes?
the man at the mosque said you'd be here.
What's going on? What do you want?
Good news.